Hey everyone, I'm Brooke, and I need to tell you about the day my entire world came crashing down. You know that feeling when you think you know someone your whole life, and then bam, they show you who they really are? Well, that's exactly what happened to me 3 months ago, and honestly, I'm still processing it all. I was sitting in my tiny studio apartment in Brooklyn, you know, the kind where you can touch both walls if you stretch your arms out. Yeah, that's home sweet home for me. I'd been working double shifts at the diner downtown, trying to save up enough money to maybe, just maybe, go back to school. At 32, I figured it was now or never, right? My phone buzzed, and I saw it was my brother Tyler calling. Now Tyler and we've never been close. He's 2 years younger than me, but you'd think he was the golden child if you met our family. While I was working my butt off since I was 16, Tyler was living it up in our childhood home with Mom, getting his college paid for, his car handed to him, everything served on a silver platter. Brooke, his voice was weird, kind of shaky. You need to come home. It's about Mom. My heart dropped. Our mom, Victoria, had been sick for a while. Cancer. But she'd been doing better lately. At least that's what I thought. See, Tyler lived with her, took care of her, and I visited when I could. But between work and trying to keep my head above water financially, it wasn't as much as I should have. What happened? I asked, already grabbing my keys. She's gone, Brooke. She passed this morning. I won't lie to you guys. I completely lost it. Despite everything, despite feeling like the forgotten daughter most of my life, I loved my mom. She wasn't perfect, but she was still my mom, you know? The next few days were a blur. Funeral arrangements, relatives I hadn't seen in years showing up, casseroles from neighbors, the whole 9 yards. Tyler handled most of it, which I was grateful for because I was barely keeping it together. But here's where things get interesting, and trust me, you're not going to believe what happened next. The day after the funeral, we met with Mom's lawyer, Mr. Henderson. He was this old-school guy with thick glasses who'd been handling our family's legal stuff forever. I figured it would be pretty straightforward. Mom didn't have much, but whatever there was would probably be split between Tyler and me. Boy, was I wrong. Mr. Henderson cleared his throat and opened this official-looking folder. Victoria's will is quite specific, he said, adjusting his glasses. She's left detailed instructions about the distribution of her assets. I'm sitting there, still in my funeral dress from the day before, thinking about how maybe I could finally catch a break. Maybe there'd be enough to help me get back on my feet, you know? The house on Maple Street, valued at approximately $340,000, goes to Tyler Johnson. Mr. Henderson read. Okay, I thought. That makes sense. Tyler had been living there, taking care of Mom. It hurt a little, but I got it. The savings account containing $85,000 also goes to Tyler Johnson. Wait, what? My stomach started doing these weird flip-flops. I looked at Tyler, but he wouldn't meet my eyes. The investment portfolio, valued at approximately $120,000, goes to Tyler Johnson. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Excuse me, I interrupted. What about, is there anything for me? Mr. Henderson looked at me over his glasses, and I swear I saw pity in his eyes. There is a letter addressed to you, Brooke. A letter. A freaking letter. He handed me this cream-colored envelope with my name written in Mom's handwriting. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely open it. Inside was a single sheet of paper, and what I read made me feel like I'd been slapped in the face. Brooke, you've always been independent and strong. You've always had enough, and you've always found a way to make things work. Tyler needs this more than you do. He's not as strong as you are. I know you'll understand. Love, Mom. I just sat there, staring at those words. You've always had enough. Are you kidding me? I'd been struggling my entire adult life, working multiple jobs, living paycheck to paycheck, and I'd always had enough? Tyler finally looked at me, and you know what he said? Brooke, you know Mom always worried about me more. You're so good at taking care of yourself. That's when something inside me just snapped. I stood up, crumpled that letter in my fist, and walked out of that lawyer's office without saying another word. Behind me, I could hear Tyler calling my name, but I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. As I sat in my beat-up Honda Civic in the parking lot, crying my eyes out, I made a decision that would change everything. If my family thought I was so good at taking care of myself, then that's exactly what I was going to do. But I was done. Done with all of them. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a story that would turn my entire life upside down. Hey guys, if you're enjoying this story so far, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Trust me, you're going to want to see where this goes next. Because what I discovered about my family after that day, well, let's just say my mom's will was the least of my problems. The drive back to Brooklyn felt like it took forever. I kept replaying Mom's letter in my head. And honestly, the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. You've always had enough. What kind of bullshit was that? When I got home, I did what any reasonable person would do. I opened a bottle of wine and started going through old photos on my phone. Big mistake. There I was at 16, working at the local grocery store while Tyler got to focus on his grades. There I was at 22, serving tables to pay for community college while Tyler was living it up at State on Mom's dime. But then I started thinking about something that never made sense to me. How did Mom even have all that money? She worked as a school secretary her whole life, and Dad died when we were kids without much to leave behind. Where did $200,000 in savings and investments come from? I was about to pour myself another glass when my phone rang. It was my friend Cassie, who works at the bank downtown. "Girl, I heard about your mom. I'm so sorry," she said. "How are you holding up?" I told her everything. The will, the money, Tyler getting it all. Cassie listened, making all the right sympathetic noises, until I mentioned the amount. "Wait, hold up," she said. "Your mom had over $200,000 in savings and investments?" "Yeah, crazy, right?" I had no idea. There was this long pause. "Brooke, honey, I probably shouldn't be telling you this, but your mom came into the bank about 6 months ago. She was asking about transferring money from accounts that had your name on them too." My blood went cold. "What do you mean, accounts with my name on them?" "Joint accounts. From when you were younger, I think. She seemed really confused about how to remove your name from them." I felt sick. "Cassie, I need to see you tomorrow. Can you meet me for coffee?" The next morning, I was at Starbucks 30 minutes early, my hands shaking as I waited for Cassie. When she finally showed up, she had this look on her face that told me everything I needed to know. "Brooke, I pulled some old records," she said quietly. "Your grandmother, your mom's mom, she set up trust accounts for you and Tyler when you were kids. They were supposed to mature when you turned 30. "What?" I whispered. "The thing is, your mom was the trustee. She had access to manage the money until you guys came of age. But Brooke," Cassie looked around nervously, "she's been moving money around for years. The account that was supposed to be yours, it's been nearly emptied." I thought I was going to throw up right there in the middle of Starbucks. How much was supposed to be mine? Originally, about $180,000. Your grandma left you both equal amounts. My world tilted. All these years, thinking I was the family screw-up, the one who couldn't get her life together. And there was money, my money, that was supposed to help me. Money that Tyler and my mom had been using while I struggled. "There's more," Cassie said. "I shouldn't be telling you this, but your mom also took out a loan against the house last year. A big one. And guess who co-signed? I already knew. Tyler. The thing is, Brooke, from what I can see, a lot of that loan money went into the accounts that Tyler just inherited. It's like they were moving money around to make sure you couldn't touch it." I sat there, staring at my untouched coffee, trying to process what she was telling me. My own mother and brother had basically stolen from me. For years. "What can I do?" I asked. Cassie shook her head. "Legally? Probably nothing. Your mom was the trustee, so technically she had the right to manage the money. And if she wrote in her will that everything goes to Tyler," she shrugged helplessly. That night, I called Tyler. He answered on the first ring, like he'd been expecting me. "Brooke, I was wondering when you'd call. We need to talk," I said. "About the money." There was a pause. "What money?" "Cut the crap, Tyler. I know about the trust accounts. I know about Grandma's money." Another pause. Longer this time. "Brooke, Mom handled all that stuff. If there were trust accounts, she would have told us. She told you. She told you. And you helped her hide it from me. That's not—" "Stop lying to me," I screamed. "I know about the house loan. I know about the transfers. I know you both screwed me over for years while I was killing myself working dead-end jobs." Silence. Finally, Tyler spoke, and his voice was different, colder. "You know what, Brooke? Even if that's true, what are you going to do about it? Mom's gone. The will is legal. The money's mine now. You're really going to stand there and defend this?" "I'm not defending anything. I'm just saying that maybe Mom was right. Maybe you are stronger than me. Maybe you don't need the money as much as I do." I could not believe what I was hearing. "Need it? Tyler, I've been living paycheck to paycheck for 15 years. And you're still here, aren't you? Still making it work. See? Strong. That's when I realized who my brother really was. Not the spoiled kid I thought I knew, but something much worse. Someone who could look me in the eye and justify stealing from me because I was strong enough to handle being screwed over. You know what? I said. You're right. I am strong. Strong enough to cut you out of my life completely. Brooke, don't be dramatic. I hung up. The next few weeks were the worst of my life. I'd lost my mom, discovered my family had been stealing from me for years, and I was more broke than ever. But you know what? I was also more determined than I'd ever been. I started by doing my own research. I went to the library, looked up legal stuff online, even called a few lawyers to ask about consultations. Most of them told me the same thing Jessica had. Legally, I was screwed. But one lawyer, this older woman named Patricia Williams, told me something interesting. Even if the will stands, she said, if you can prove there was fraud involved in how the trust money was handled, you might have a case for a civil lawsuit. What kind of proof would I need? Bank records, documentation of transfers, anything that shows deliberate deception. I couldn't afford to hire her, but she gave me some advice that changed everything. Sometimes, she said, the best way to fight back isn't in court. Sometimes it's about making sure the truth comes out. That's when I got an idea. A crazy, probably stupid idea, but an idea nonetheless. I started documenting everything. Every conversation I'd had with Marcus. Every memory of Mom making excuses for why she couldn't help me when I was struggling. I wrote it all down. Then I started reaching out to people. Old family friends, relatives, people who'd known us growing up. I wasn't trying to trash talk anyone. I was just asking questions. Did you know about Grandma's trust accounts? Did Mom ever mention anything about money she was managing for us kids? And you know what? People started talking. My cousin Linda, who'd always been close to Mom, called me back after I'd left her a message. Sarah, honey, I'm so glad you called. I've been feeling terrible about something. What do you mean? Your mom. She called me about a year ago. She was asking about legal stuff, about whether it was okay to use trust money for emergencies. She said Marcus was having trouble finding work and needed help. What did you tell her? I told her she should talk to a lawyer. But Sarah, she also said something that didn't sit right with me. She said you were doing fine, that you'd always been good at making your own way, while Marcus was living in her house, unemployed. Right. It felt wrong, you know? Like she was making excuses. More calls revealed more of the same. Mom had been telling people for years that I was independent and didn't need help, while making excuses for why Marcus needed constant financial support. But the real bombshell came from my Uncle Dave, Dad's brother. Sarah, he said, I need to tell you something. Your dad, before he died, he made me promise to keep an eye on you kids. He was worried about your mom's favoritism. What? He saw it even back then. How she treated Marcus different. He made me promise that if anything ever happened to him, I'd make sure you were taken care of too. I started crying. Uncle Dave, why didn't you ever say anything? I tried, honey. I tried talking to your mom over the years, but she always brushed me off. Said you were strong, that you'd be fine. But your dad, he worried about you. He wanted to make sure you had the same opportunities as Marcus. That's when Uncle Dave told me something that changed everything. Your dad had a life insurance policy, a small one, but he specifically said it was supposed to be split between you and Marcus when you turned 30. Your mom was supposed to tell you about it. How much? About $50,000. It's not a fortune, but it's something. I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. Uncle Dave, I'm 32. I never heard about any life insurance. Silence. Then, oh, honey. Oh, no. I drove to Mom's house. Well, Marcus's house now, that same afternoon. I was done being the nice, understanding sister. I was done being the strong one who just takes whatever life throws at her. Marcus answered the door looking like he'd just woken up, even though it was 3 p.m. Sarah, what are you doing here? We need to talk. About Dad's life insurance. His face went white. I don't know what you're talking about. Cut the shit, Marcus. Uncle Dave told me everything. I pushed past him into the house, and what I saw made me even angrier. He'd already started redecorating, probably with my inheritance money. New furniture, a giant flat-screen TV, expensive-looking artwork on the walls. Nice place, I said sarcastically. Dad's insurance money buy all this? Sarah, you're being crazy. I don't know anything about insurance money. Then you won't mind if I call the insurance company and ask them about it. He just stared at me. That's what I thought, I said. How much, Marcus? How much of my money did you and Mom steal? It wasn't stealing, he said quietly. Mom said you were doing fine. She said you didn't need it. Because she never told me about it. I screamed. How could I need money I didn't know existed? Look, even if that's true, what do you want me to do? Give you half of everything? I can't do that. Why not? Because He stopped, looked around at his new stuff. Because I already spent some of it. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. How much? Sarah, please, I'll pay you back. I just need time. How much? Most of it, he whispered. I sat down on his new couch, trying not to lose my mind completely. So let me get this straight. You and Mom stole my trust fund, my inheritance, and my life insurance money, and you spent it all on furniture and toys? It wasn't like that. Mom was sick, and she needed help with the medical bills. Bullshit. I stood up. Mom had insurance through the school district. Her medical bills were covered. You spent my money on crap because you could. Marcus looked at me with these puppy dog eyes that used to work on Mom. Sarah, I'm sorry. I really am. But I can't give you money I don't have. Then sell the house. What? You heard me. Sell the house. Pay off the loan you took out against it, and split what's left with me. I can't do that. Where would I live? I don't know, Marcus. Maybe you could get a job and rent an apartment like a normal person? He looked at me like I'd suggested he climb Mount Everest. Sarah, you don't understand. I'm not like you. I can't just bounce back from stuff. Because you've never had to. Because Mom and I always bailed you out. That's not true, isn't it? When have you ever had to figure things out on your own? When have you ever had to work 2 jobs to make rent? When have you ever had to choose between groceries and gas money? He didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. Well, guess what? Those days are over. I'm done enabling you. What do you mean? I mean, I'm done, Marcus. I'm done pretending we're family. I'm done pretending you're some helpless kid who needs protecting. You're a grown man who stole from his own sister, and I want nothing to do with you. I headed for the door, but Marcus called after me. Sarah, wait. What if I could give you something? I mean, not money, but something valuable? I stopped. Like what? Mom's jewelry. She had some nice pieces. And there's other stuff, antiques and things. It's got to be worth something. I turned around. Are you serious right now? You think you can buy me off with Mom's old jewelry? I'm trying to make this right. No, you're trying to make yourself feel better. There's a difference. I walked out and slammed the door behind me. That night, I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about everything that had happened, trying to make sense of it all. How had I been so blind? How had I not seen what was going on? I decided to go through some of Mom's things that Marcus had left for me to pick up. Just a few boxes of photos and personal items. Nothing valuable, of course. But as I was going through the photos, I found something that made me understand everything. It was a folder stuck between some old photo albums. Inside were bank statements, legal documents, and letters. At first, I thought it was just random paperwork. But then I started reading. The first letter was from my grandmother's lawyer, dated 15 years ago. It was addressed to Mom, explaining the terms of the trust account she'd set up for Marcus and me. As per Mrs. Patterson's wishes, the letter read, the trust funds are to be held until each child reaches the age of 30, at which point they will receive full access to their inheritance. The funds are to be used for education, home purchase, or other major life expenses that will benefit the children's future. There it was, in black and white. Grandma had left us both $180,000, specifically for our futures. But then, I found something else. A letter from Mom to the bank, dated just 3 years ago. I need to transfer funds from Sarah's trust account to cover medical expenses, she'd written. She's doing well financially and won't need the money right away. Medical expenses. But I'd already established that Mom's medical bills were covered by insurance. So what medical expenses? I kept digging and found the answer in another bank statement. The money from my trust hadn't gone to medical bills. It had gone to pay off Marcus's credit card debt, $30,000 worth of credit card debt. There were more statements, more transfers. Money from my trust paying for Marcus's car. Money from my trust paying for his college expenses that were supposed to be covered by scholarships. Money from my trust paying for vacations, electronics, clothes, all for Marcus. And then I found the worst thing of all, a letter from Mom to Marcus, dated just 6 months before she died. Don't worry about Sarah, she'd written. She's always been independent. She doesn't need the money like you do. I've made sure everything is set up so you'll be taken care of after I'm gone. I sat there on my floor, surrounded by evidence of my own family's betrayal, and I just broke down. Not just because of the money, but because of what it meant. My own mother had written me off. She decided I was strong enough to handle being screwed over, so it was okay to screw me over. But then, I found one more thing. A letter I wasn't supposed to see. It was from Marcus to Mom, dated a year ago. "Thanks for taking care of the credit card thing," he'd written. "I know you had to use Sarah's money, but like you said, she's doing fine without it. Besides, she's always been the smart one. She'll figure out how to make her own way." He'd known. He'd known exactly where the money was coming from, and he'd been fine with it. I called Uncle Dave. "I found some documents," I told him. "Letters between Mom and Marcus. They both knew they were stealing from me." "Oh, honey, I'm so sorry." "Uncle Dave, I need to ask you something. Was Mom always like this? Did she always favor Marcus?" There was a long pause. "Your father used to worry about it. Even when you were little, she'd make excuses for Marcus and expect more from you. He tried to talk to her about it, but she'd say it was because you were more capable." "More capable of what? Being ignored?" I think your mom had this idea that strength meant you didn't need help, and she saw you as the strong one, so she thought that meant you didn't need support, while Marcus got everything handed to him. Your father saw it happening. That's why he made sure to set up that life insurance policy specifically for you. He wanted to make sure you had something that was just yours. But Mom never told me about it. No, she didn't. And I should have checked on that. I should have made sure you knew. I failed you, Sarah, and I'm sorry." I started crying again. "Uncle Dave, I don't know what to do. I'm so angry, and I feel so betrayed, and I don't know how to move forward. You know what your dad would say?" "What?" "He'd say that the best revenge is living well. He'd say, don't let them break you." "But how do I do that? How do I move forward when I've been screwed over so completely?" "You use that strength your mom always talked about, but you use it for yourself this time." The next morning, I woke up with a plan. If my family wanted to treat me like I was on my own, then I was going to be on my own. Completely. First, I called the insurance company about Dad's life insurance policy. It took some digging, but I finally got transferred to someone who could help. "Yes, we do have a policy on file for Robert Thompson," the woman said. "The beneficiaries are listed as Marcus Thompson and Sarah Thompson, to be split equally upon reaching age 30. "I'm 32, I said. "I never received anything. Let me check our records." It looks like the policy was claimed 2 years ago by Patricia Thompson, acting as a state executor. She provided documentation showing that both beneficiaries had been notified and agreed to the distribution. "That's impossible. I was never notified. I'm looking at the signed documents now. There's a signature here for Sarah Thompson." My blood ran cold. "Can you fax me copies of those documents?" 20 minutes later, I was staring at my own forged signature on legal documents. Mom had literally forged my name to steal my father's insurance money. That's when I knew I had to do something drastic. I spent the next week putting together a plan. I copied every document I'd found, organized everything chronologically, and wrote out a detailed timeline of what had happened. Then I did something that probably sounds petty, but I don't care. I created a Facebook post. "For those who've been asking how I'm doing after Mom's death," I wrote, "I want to share something important. I recently discovered that my mother and brother systematically stole over $200,000 from trust funds and life insurance that was meant for me. I have documentation showing years of financial manipulation and fraud. I'm sharing this not for sympathy, but because I believe in truth and transparency. If you're dealing with similar family issues, know that you're not alone, and you don't have to stay silent." I attached copies of the most damning documents: the forged insurance paperwork, the bank transfers, the letters between Mom and Marcus. Then I hit post. Within an hour, my phone was blowing up. Friends, relatives, even people I barely knew were commenting and messaging me. Some were shocked, some were supportive, and a few were angry at me for airing family business. But the most important call came from my cousin Linda. "Sarah, I had no idea," she said. "I'm so sorry, but I want you to know, I've been talking to some other family members, and we want to help." "What do you mean?" "Well, your Uncle Dave and I have been talking, and we think what happened to you is terrible. We can't give you the money you lost, but we want to do something." "Linda, I don't need charity. It's not charity. It's justice. Your dad was Dave's brother, and he would have wanted you to have what was rightfully yours. Dave has some money saved up, and so do I. We want to give you enough to get back on your feet." I started crying. "I can't take your money. You're not taking it. We're giving it. There's a difference." "How much are we talking about?" "Well, between Dave and me and a few other relatives who want to contribute, we're looking at about $40,000. It's not everything you lost, but it's enough to get you started on a new life. I couldn't believe it. After feeling so alone and betrayed, here were people who actually cared about me stepping up. But the best part was yet to come. That evening, Marcus called. He was furious. "Sarah, what the hell is wrong with you? Why did you put all that stuff on Facebook?" "Because it's the truth. You're making us look like criminals." "You are criminals. You stole from me for years." "We didn't steal anything. Mom was managing the money. She forged my signature, Marcus, on legal documents. That's fraud." Silence. "Yeah, I found the insurance paperwork," I continued. "Mom literally forged my name to steal Dad's life insurance money. That's a felony." "Sarah, please, take the post down. People are calling me, asking questions. This is humiliating." "Good. Maybe you should be humiliated. What do you want from me?" "I want you to admit what you did. I want you to acknowledge that you and Mom stole from me, and I want you to figure out how to make it right." "I can't give you money I don't have." "Then sell the house." "I already told you I can't do that." "Then we have nothing to talk about." "Sarah, if you don't take that post down, I'm going to have to call a lawyer." I laughed. "Go ahead. I have documentation of everything. Let's see what a lawyer says about forged signatures and stolen trust funds." He hung up. The next few weeks were a whirlwind. My Facebook post had gone viral in our extended family and friend circles. I got messages from people I hadn't talked to in years, sharing their own stories of family financial betrayal. But the most surprising message came from Jessica, my friend at the bank. "Sarah, I've been thinking about your situation, and I want to help. I know someone who works in estate law, and she thinks you might have a case against the insurance company for allowing the fraudulent claim to go through." "What do you mean?" "Well, they're supposed to verify signatures and notify all beneficiaries. If they failed to do that properly, they might be liable for the money that was stolen." I met with Jessica's lawyer friend, Maria Santos, the next day. "This is interesting," Maria said, looking through my documents. "The insurance company has a legal obligation to verify the identity of beneficiaries before paying out claims. If they accepted a forged signature without proper verification, they could be held responsible." "What would that mean for me?" "It means you might be able to recover the life insurance money, plus interest and penalties. It's not a guarantee, but it's worth pursuing." "How much would it cost?" "I'll take it on contingency. If we win, I take a percentage. If we lose, you owe me nothing." I couldn't believe it. After months of feeling powerless, I finally had a real chance to get some justice. But the best part was still to come. The money from my relatives came through exactly as promised. Uncle Dave, Linda, and several other family members had pooled together $40,000 to help me get back on my feet. With that money, I was able to do something I'd dreamed of for years. I enrolled in a nursing program at the community college. I'd always wanted to work in healthcare, but I'd never had the money to go back to school. I also moved out of my crappy studio apartment and into a decent one-bedroom place. Nothing fancy, but it was mine, and I'd earned it. The lawsuit against the insurance company took almost a year, but we won. The company had to pay me the full $50,000 from Dad's policy, plus interest and penalties, which brought the total to about $65,000. More importantly, they had to implement new verification procedures to prevent future fraud. But you know what the best part was? Marcus never tried to contact me again after I refused to take down the Facebook post. He just disappeared from my life completely. I found out through Linda that he'd had to sell the house after all. Apparently, he'd been living off credit cards and couldn't make the mortgage payments once his inheritance money ran out. He's renting some little apartment across town, Linda told me, working at a call center. I felt nothing. No satisfaction, no sadness, no anger, just nothing. "How do you feel about that?" Linda asked, like it's not my problem anymore. And that was the truth. For the first time in my life, Marcus's problems weren't my problems. I wasn't responsible for fixing his life or feeling guilty about his failures. I was free. 2 years later, I'm a different person. I graduated from nursing school at the top of my class and got a job at the Children's Hospital downtown. I make good money, I have benefits, and I love what I do. I also met someone. His name is David, and he's a teacher. He's kind, funny, and he treats me like an equal partner. When I told him about what happened with my family, he didn't try to fix it or minimize it. He just listened and supported me. We're getting married next month. It's going to be a small ceremony, just David's family and the relatives who stood by me. Uncle Dave is walking me down the aisle, and Linda is my maid of honor. Marcus sent me a Facebook message last month. He said he was sorry for everything and wanted to make amends. He said he'd been in therapy and realized how wrong he'd been. I read the message, thought about it for about 30 seconds, and then deleted it. Some people might say I should forgive him. That family is family. But you know what? I've learned that family isn't about blood. It's about the people who show up for you when things get tough. Marcus had 32 years to show up for me, and he chose not to. In fact, he chose to actively work against me. That's not family. That's an enemy who happens to share your DNA. I have a real family now. David, Uncle Dave, Linda, and the friends who've become my chosen family. These are the people who'll be at my wedding, who'll support me through whatever life throws at me, and who'll celebrate my successes without trying to take credit for them. I also started a blog about financial abuse within families. It turns out my story isn't unique. There are thousands of people who've been screwed over by relatives who were supposed to protect them. The blog has helped me connect with other survivors and has given me a platform to share resources and advice. I'm even working on a book about the experience. Sometimes people ask me if I regret cutting ties with Marcus. The answer is no, not even a little bit. Cutting ties with toxic people isn't about being mean or holding grudges. It's about protecting yourself and creating space for healthy relationships to grow. I spent 32 years trying to be the understanding sister, the one who made excuses for Marcus's behavior and accepted whatever scraps of love and respect my family threw my way. Now I'm 34, and I'm living the life I should have had all along. I have a career I'm passionate about, a partner who respects me, and a chosen family who actually shows up for me. And you know what? I do have enough now. Not because I'm some superhuman strong person like my mom always said, but because I finally stopped letting people take from me and started building something for myself. Marcus was right about one thing. I am stronger than him, but not in the way he meant. I'm stronger because I learned to value myself enough to walk away from people who didn't. I'm stronger because I built a life based on my own worth, not on other people's opinions of what I deserved. And I'm stronger because I finally understood that you can't force someone to love you or treat you right, but you can choose to surround yourself with people who do. The house Marcus inherited, it's in foreclosure now. The money he spent on toys and vacations, gone. The relationship he had with me, over forever. But the life I built for myself, that's just getting started. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even. It's living so well that you forget why you were angry in the first place. And that's exactly what I did. Hey guys, thanks for sticking with me through this whole crazy story. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button and let me know in the comments where you're watching from. Your support means everything to me. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more stories like this one. Trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Remember, if you're dealing with toxic family members or financial abuse, you're not alone. There are resources out there, and there are people who will support you. Don't let anyone convince you that you deserve less than you're worth. Until next time, take care of yourselves.